Brothers and sisters of the grim and curious, welcome to Minister of the Sinister, our very first episode. Tonight, we bow our heads not in reverence, but in disbelief. For this tale is a scorched sermon from the book of the Unhinged, inspired not by scripture, but by screaming guitars and satanic stage lore. And in this gospel of gasoline, our young antagonist was both arsonist and ashhole. So grab your holy water and a fire extinguisher. This isn't just a story of crime. It's a full-blown sacrilege symphony of scorched sanctuaries. In the quiet, rural heart of Louisiana's St. Landry Parish, faith had stood tall for over a century, built into the wooden frames of churches, passed through generations of black families, whispered in hymns that rose into the southern skies. But in the spring of 2019, that faith was tested by fire. It began on March 26th. In the small town of Port Barre, a blaze tore through St. Mary Missionary Baptist Church. The flames moved fast, too fast to save the sanctuary. By dawn, little remained but charred timbers and ashes. 1 week later, on April 2nd, a second fire consumed Greater Union Baptist Church in Opelousas. And just 2 days after that, Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church was engulfed by fire. 3 churches, 3 infernos, 10 days. It was no coincidence. It was arson. And soon it became clear someone was trying to erase more than buildings. They were trying to scorch sacred ground. Federal investigators and local authorities mobilized fast. The pattern was unmistakable, the destruction absolute. All 3 churches had predominantly African American congregations. All 3 had stood for over 100 years. Pastors stood before their ruined sanctuaries and asked, why? Authorities reviewed surveillance video surrounding the infernos and found one thing in common: a beige pickup truck at each location during the fires. When they dug deeper, they were shocked to discover that the truck was registered to local sheriff's deputy Roy Matthews. Forced with this reality, Deputy Matthews had to grapple with the fact that the arsonist could only be one person: a young man with a dark obsession. Holden James Matthews, 21 years old, a resident of the same parish, and the son of a sheriff's deputy. His motive wasn't money. It wasn't personal revenge. It was notoriety. Matthews was drawn to the anti-Christian ethos of black metal music, a subgenre known for its harsh sound, darker imagery, and, in its most extreme circles, its history of church burnings in Norway during the 1990s. And in a chilling confession, Matthews admitted he set the fires deliberately to elevate his profile as a black metal musician. He recorded the burning churches on his phone and posted the footage to Facebook. Real-time images of houses of worship reduced to embers became social media content for clout. What shocked investigators most wasn't just the planning, it was the cold detachment. He stood by and watched the flames consume communities, watched as spiritual homes collapsed, and families lost sacred spaces of birth, marriage, worship, and memory. But he didn't act alone, not in planning, but in inspiration. Online, Matthews connected with individuals who encouraged his descent. One woman he pursued romantically, a self-described Satanist, later described him as obsessed, unstable, and disturbingly fixated on destruction. Yet Matthews didn't represent any organized ideology. This was one man, gripped by delusion, trying to make a name for himself in a scene that glorified chaos. Justice came swiftly. Matthews pled guilty to 3 counts of violating the Church Arson Prevention Act and 1 count of using fire to commit a federal felony. In 2021, a federal judge sentenced him to a cozy 300 months in prison. For those who don't speak Bureau of Prisons, that's 25 years. He was also ordered to pay over $2.6 million in restitution. Like they'll ever see that money. But even with justice served, the damage was deep. For congregants like Reverend Gerald Toussaint, the pain lingered, but so did hope. I just thank God that it's over. Our church can rebuild and get back to our work. Because no fire, no matter how furious, can destroy faith rooted in love, resilience, and the strength of a people who refuse to be erased. So, how did our flame-happy frontman's career end? Not in a blaze of glory. Holden's hot streak got him a headline, a prison jumpsuit, and a lifelong spot on the FBI's "No, seriously, what were you thinking?" list. Let this be a lesson to all aspiring shock rockers out there. If your idea of artistic expression involves felony, arson, and hate crimes, maybe just stick to crayons. Until next time, stay creepy, stay curious, and please, for the love of everything flammable, don't try to go viral with fire. Minister out.